I'm sitting here listening to the news this morning on a Sunday morning.
The question of protest fatigue. He said you got to give the people victories, and that's the greatest antidote to protest fatigue. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with
The protests, they're talking about the protests about Planned Parenthood. Donald Trump's administration wants to get rid of this Planned Parenthood, or modify it, as they say.
Carol Simpson, the great Carol Simpson. Thank you guys very much for being here. That is our show for today. Be sure to join us next week when AM Joy will come to you live from California, our Schwarzenegger country. Coming up next, how would Donald Trump's Supreme Court, nominee react to his travel ban in court? Alex Witt has more top of the hour.
Hey there. Starting your search for the right used car?
Yeah.
I am. You got it. Just say, show me millions of used cars for sale.
Okay. I'm turning down the TV for a minute here. Now, one of the topics I want to talk about this morning is I want to talk about how the Democrats' reaction and the public's, or not the public's reaction, and the Republicans' reactions to the nomination that Donald Trump's nomination for the Supreme Court judges. I'm not going to make this video really long. I'm trying not to. The first thing I want to do is just simply say that Donald Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court justice, I'm sure he's highly qualified. More than so, right? He made it clear by reading his accolades, where he graduated from, where he did his undergraduate, where he graduated from, all of them things, and the books he have written on certain topics, how high his intellect is, all of these things. Excuse me for wiping my nose. But sometimes you get a scratch when you have to scratch. But anyway, let me put it this way. I watched that night when that happened, when he presented his nominee. You know, he did it unlike most presidents do in the past, who usually who present their nominee, and then that's it. But of course, with his narcissism, he had to do it unorthodox and do it like no other president has done it before, right? He had to introduce them himself. He had to introduce the man himself, right? Okay, I get it. We know his narcissism is not going to go away. It is a personality trait. Ask any doctor in psychology, or psychiatrist, they will let you know that is part of his DNA, that this is his personality trait. They give tests all the time. He is a narcissist, Donald Trump. But this is not about Donald Trump. This is about the reactions of the Democrats now and the Republicans going up against each other for the nominee that Donald Trump has placed in place of the former Supreme Court Justice Scalia. Now, Scalia, if anybody knows, understands who Scalia was, he was a very brilliant judge. I'm not going to deny that. But brilliance does not negate the fact that the man was a fucking flat out racist and made some racist statements. The point that Scalia was making earlier about, a few years ago, about blacks not being intelligent enough to go to Ivy League schools and stuff like that. I mean, why didn't he say that to Michelle Obama? Why didn't he say that to President Obama? You know, and there have been many others that have gone prior before them. Okay, and to higher education that was dominated by predominantly Europeans. They're Ivy League schools, right? Well, anyway, we know that Scalia was a conservative judge, and but my point is that this is not about really Scalia. This is about former Supreme Court Justice Scalia. This is about the nomination that they did not give former President Obama nominee. Did not even give him a chance. This is what this is about. I mean, the man was qualified because let's just say President Obama would never have picked a man. I'm sure he read over his credentials and everything else, like any true president who is literate enough would do. I'm sure he had some of his cabinet and people look over, present to him certain nominees, and then he made a final decision on it. But here's the point that I'm trying to make about the whole deal. See, nobody knew who was going to become president. I don't even think Trump thought he was going to become president, or he may have thought he was going to lose by a slim margin. But anyway, Hillary did not make it because they thought Hillary was going to win. But what I'm saying is the Republicans flat out, blatantly, purposely denied President Obama his nominee. Now, if you can show me, here's just what I'm saying. Now they're saying that it was it's unconstitutional for a lame duck president to choose a Supreme Court justice in his last year. Really? Where does it say in the Constitution that a lame duck president cannot choose or pick a nominee? And where in the damn Constitution does it say that the Republicans just can flat out deny the president's nominee? It's unconstitutional. Well, why don't you show it in writing to the people? Because not everybody sees the Constitution. I mean, to me, an intelligent person would tell you that these people purposely, first of all, they didn't like Obama. Some of them, or most of them, didn't like him because he had dark skin. They didn't like him because he was a black man, a half black man, whatever the case may be, who was their leader. And let's be honest with you, a lot of Europeans don't like minorities over them, especially if they're darker than them, especially if they're black. They have a hard time being under black leadership. They're not used to it. They didn't grow up with it. They separate themselves. They live in the mountains. They separate themselves from everybody. And they don't want to live around you. They think you're savages, people who look like me. But here's the forest in that. I didn't grow up in the ghetto, and I didn't grow up in the city. I may have started off poor. I may have started off born in the ghetto, or maybe born poor. But I grew up in the suburban. I'm a suburban black. And I know there's other suburban blacks out there who feel the same way. I went to a predominantly white school. Then I went to a predominantly black school. So I understand pretty much the dynamics between blacks and whites. And one of the things I recognized is that when it comes to black leadership, see, I've been under black and white leadership, so I know. But a large majority of you whites out there, you ain't ever been under a black leadership. So it was hard for them senators and congressmen to look up to President Obama and to call him a leader. As hard as it was, some of them still didn't, because they went as far as to scrutinize his name and to say he wasn't even born. Our president now, President Trump, said what? What did he say? He said Obama wasn't even born in the United States. What Hawaii was Hawaii, according to my knowledge, and he's supposed to be literate, and this is our president now. Wasn't Hawaii made a state somewhere in the 60s or late 50s, somewhere around there at that time, give or take? So it was after the 40s, definitely. I don't know the exact, I remember reading it, and I know it was after the 40s that Hawaii became a state. So Obama was born in the 60s. So that makes him a legal citizen, right? Am I dumb? Or, I mean, where am I getting my facts wrong? My point is this. They purposely blocked Obama's nominee, Judge Garland. They didn't want him, not because they didn't like him. They didn't want him because they knew he was going to be qualified. They didn't want to pick Obama's nominee because Obama, they didn't like him, not just because he was black, but because they didn't like some other things about President Obama. And instead, now you see President Obama was doing his job, because if it was not unconstitutional, so you're saying President Obama was too ignorant to know that this was not illegal? Why would a president do something that's unconstitutional? Well, that's because he was trying to assert his authority as the president. Oh, like Donald Trump is with this travel ban. Is that what you're saying? So they're going to try to rewrite the words. See, we're intelligent enough. You're going to try to rewrite the words to fit your agenda. Is that what you're trying to say? See, you play on our intelligence as we're stupid and dumb. But now there are blacks out there, we do read. And we do comprehend and understand a lot of things. And this is your fear. Instead of playing straight and playing and hitting the dot, hitting the bullseye straight, on point, you want to play these games with our government. But the point I'm trying to make here is that they purposely blocked President Obama's nominee. I wanted to make a video then and say, why weren't the Democrats all up in arms? Why didn't they stand behind their president? That is the question I have to ask. Everybody points the finger, and says, well, Obama didn't do this and Obama didn't that. But when he was trying to do something like that, placing a Supreme Court justice nominee in front of you, what? They didn't play along. They didn't even allow the man to have a decent hearing to question him because they knew Garland was qualified. That's why. But they want to tilt or keep the so-called, as they call it, play this game of blocking a important seat in the Supreme Court Justice Court. Okay, because they felt like, well, it's gonna make the court lean more left than right. So what? Scalia died. You can't stop destiny. Okay, now you think you're gonna stop destiny. See, a lot of you don't believe in destiny because you think you are the authority of where you're gonna go. That you're the captain of your sail, your ship. That's not true. Because I can name a lot of people who have died in the past and they didn't even see it coming. Okay? So you can't stop destiny. But the point that they tried to block President Obama, which they did, not try, they did block his nominee way back 10 and a half months ago. It just shows you how disrespectful these people were to our former president, President Obama. Now, I'm going to tell you personally, I would have liked to have seen President Obama pick a black woman as a Supreme Court Justice nominee. Since we already have Clarence Thomas as a black judge of the Supreme Court Justice. And I remember when he was being scrutinized and they used a black woman to try to denounce his nomination. And he's a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I am an independent. Now, I think I was a Democrat for like less than a year when I became of age to vote. And then I said, I'm not part of this. Because I saw the way the Republicans and Democrats were just a bunch of parties just bucking heads together. But my point is that for those who think that, oh, well, that they should just lay down and just allow Trump's nominee to go through, hey, this has nothing to do with his nominee. This has everything to do with the Republicans. Giving them their same medicine, the same medicine that they gave Obama. You see? See, if you want to play fair, and the bad thing about the Democrats is that they don't have the backbone. Nobody has the backbone. Bernie comes close. Bernie Sanders comes close to having a backbone. He's the only he's an independent, really, like myself. He's the only one that has, but he represents the Democratic Party because that's the only way he can that's the only way he could have ran, because they don't want outside parties running. They don't allow it. The system here in America. That's the problem with America. You know, it's to protect these wicked forefathers of the Europeans back in the day who set up the system to continue to work in behalf of themselves and their ancestors and their children's generation and their children's children's generation. Yeah, that's what the system has been set up for. And Planned Parenthood, well, we ain't even going to go into that one because we know exactly why Planned Parenthood, they want to stop Planned Parenthood. But then again, you would think I'm a racist because of what I'm saying. I'm not a racist. I just tell it like it is. I don't hold no cards to your future, white man, white woman, whoever you are. Anybody else that's non-black. I don't hold the cards to your future. I can't influence you, so how can I be a racist? Your government's racist. Your government is racist. It's always been. Black Americans and the Africans. Yeah, I'm talking to you Africans and the Africans. The Africans come to this country as immigrants and not indigenous, but as immigrants here to this country. And all these other European immigrants, everybody rides on the backs of Black Americans. Now, can I relate to anything that what's going on in Chicago, what the blacks are doing in Chicago? I am a black who lives in another state, much further away from Chicago. I have no fight, no dog in that fight, as my favorite artist says, rest in peace, Prince. I have no dog in that fight. It is your state, your leaders. Doesn't the Nation of Islam, don't they reside in that state? So why aren't they doing anything about it? The violence that has happened in just 1 year in Chicago. So it's atrocious. It's atrocious. But, you know, I'm just one black of millions of blacks in America that has an opinion about this. This is how I see it. You know, where are the suburban black people? Speak up. Why? They're too comfortable living just enough, keeping their head above the water just enough to not say nothing. Where are you? Because it's not just about, see, they make it seem like every black person is a ghetto, grew up in the ghetto. Every black person did not grow up in the ghetto, and every black person's not affluent either. We are just as diverse as any other ethnic people or people in this world. We have black people that are educated. We have black people that are middle class, and we have black people that are poor. You know, I come from a two-parent home. Even though I may have been born, in fact, I know I still had two parents when I was in the foster home, or not in the foster home, but when my original parents were together. But something happened which I don't understand what happened. But anyway, I grew up, once I was adopted, I grew up with two parents in the household. And I know what these two parents are like of mine. I know what they were like. So not every black grows up single parents. I don't know what's going on with this generation today. You know, this is why I'm pissed off. Pissed off because black people, some of you have caused this on your own. You have brought this on your own. Not giving the whites government or the whites who are in charge a pass. I'm just saying. Your mentality plays a lot in this too as well. Stand up for the right then if you want to see right. If you didn't vote, you have no dog in this fight. If you didn't go out there and vote, you have no dog in this fight. I voted twice. I voted twice. And neither one of my candidates won. So I have a dog in this fight. I voted twice. The preliminaries and the primaries. And neither one of my candidates won. So, you know, the system is messed up. Yes, it needs to be changed. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, they purposely blocked. And now I don't care. You know, now Democrats want to talk about all this bullshit, talk about, you know, and the Republicans want to say, well, you should nominate. You know what? Hopefully it comes to a stalemate. I'm hoping it comes to a stalemate. Because that's what they did to Obama. They didn't even give his candidate a chance. Not even a hearing. And they'll cut off their nose to spite their face because the man was white. He wasn't even a black woman or a minority. Obama picked a Hispanic first before he even picked a black woman. I mean, wow. Thurgood Marshall was the first black Supreme Court judge. You know? Then we had Clarence Thomas, 2. That was the second male. So it would have been, it would have behooved President Obama just to pick a black female to nominate? Even if he had 1 or 2 or 3. And even if he didn't pick them, at least he could have put them on the board. Some say that there were some that he had picked, but they denied it. I don't know how true that is. All I'm saying is, I know I would have picked a black female just because it would have made history. Because we haven't had a black female Supreme Court justice. So anyway, that's my take as a black American.